Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I kind of just wanted to have a bit of a chatty video, a lockdown, corona, quarantine chat, I don't know how I'm going to call the video, and just talk a little bit about how I'm experiencing the whole situation and the stuff that I'm doing. No tea this time, it's elderberry and lime juice. But like sparkling, because I don't drink a lot of fizzy drinks, soda, whatever you call it. But now that the days are getting warmer, I sort of, sometimes I do want to drink something else than just water all the time. So, cheers. So I would say grab a little drink yourself maybe, and then we can have a chat, or just, watching me chat with my camera. Okay, so first of all, I want to address this mess that's going on. My hair is greasy as fuck. And I do that on purpose because you know how they always say that your hair isn't actually supposed to be washed and it sort of cleans itself after a while? Well, I always wanted to try that, but the thing is that my hair is already quite greasy and I could never really try it because, I work with people and you want to look a little bit hygienic if you work with people, so I could never really do it. But now that I'm in quarantine, I thought maybe now I can finally try it and see what it does to my hair. And it's gross at the moment, so I really hope that it will maybe change magically over a couple of days. But anyway, I don't think it can hurt to do a little bit of a detox. The reason why I also wanted to try it is because, of course because my hair is already greasy and maybe I can sort of change that a little bit, but mostly because I tend to have itchy scalp and it's so annoying. Even though that I am using ecological, organic shampoos and conditioners, it seems like I haven't really found a brand that really works for my, scalp. So we'll see how that goes, and yeah, I'll keep you updated on the hair. So, lockdown. It's a bit all over the place, right? I think this is because I was even at home before the lockdown officially started. So I think I've been home since the 10th of March, something like that. So how did I experience it so far? Well, the first week I felt was the most difficult one because I'm gonna be perfectly honest, I was one of the people who thought that the whole virus thing was a little bit exaggerated, and especially with the media constantly, spreading terrifying news about it. And then all of a sudden it looked as if it really was a really bad thing. And then the first thing started to happen, like the schools started to close, shops were closing. And all of a sudden it really felt like, wow, did I really underestimate it so much? And I have to say that in the first week I was almost afraid to leave my house. Because you go from a very normal situation to a very unexpected situation. And I really had this idea, like, if I'm gonna leave my house, I might potentially get this virus because apparently it's really much worse than everybody thought it was. And I almost didn't dare to go to, the supermarket. So yeah, the first week was a bit intense, and I also was afraid that maybe I had the virus, maybe I had been too how do you say it in English? Nonchalant? It's not a word in English, I know. I'm gonna find a translation and put it over here. It was just so weird at first, you can't go and see your family anymore, and you can't go to the bar, you can't go and have lunch somewhere, and I found it really difficult to adjust. And also what annoyed me the most was the selfishness of people, or some people, not everybody of course. But when I saw those stories of people buying like packs of toilet paper and like a whole supply of water or food, and it just made me feel like, are we really going to do that? Can we keep things a little bit normal and can we not panic? But I felt like, at first it was weird for everybody, but I just didn't get that whole you know, I'm gonna buy a lot of toilet paper because that's the only thing I need. I mean, you know, people didn't have that until a couple of decades ago, so that was also something that I found very difficult, and I sort of wanted to avoid people just because I was so annoyed with the whole situation. And also I was sort of afraid, well, maybe afraid is a strong word, but I was really not looking forward to going to the supermarket and seeing all these people, like, you know, grabbing food and supplies, and I really had these doomsday preppers ideas in my mind. But you know, then I actually ran out of food and I had to go do some grocery shopping. And that was the first time that I left the house in the first week of the lockdown. And it was actually a really nice day. I remember the sun was out. I felt like the moment I was outside, there was really sort of a feeling of relief because I also saw other people. It wasn't this ghost city that I expected. Also in the supermarket, everything was very calm and people weren't doing the doomsday prepping thing. So that was for me a little bit of a moment to calm down and be like, okay, maybe some of those people are doing exaggerated stuff, but it's definitely not everywhere. I think from that moment on, that was a little bit of a turn for me, and then I could sort of breathe again. I think then I really sort of started to accept the situation and everything felt better. And also something else that I struggled with at first was the whole idea of not being able to work and not really doing anything, which is very ironic because actually for a very long time that is all that I wanted to do. I really had this image of, wouldn't it be great if I could just, you know, work from home, do makeup jobs on location and maybe do YouTube with my spare time and just try out stuff and work from home and just really doing what I want to do. And then the lockdown happened, and of course the doing makeup on location thing, you know, that was no longer an option. But the working from home stuff, all of a sudden, you know, it was the only thing that I actually could do. But really enough, I sort of couldn't handle it. I sort of felt useless because I couldn't do any paid work, not necessarily for me earning money, but more like the idea of doing something for somebody else. And that was just really funny because I said to myself, like, you know, you are this person who really wanted to have some time for yourself, and now you have it, and it's almost as if you don't know what to do with it. That was actually quite funny at first, but that also completely went away the second week of the lockdown. So regardless of that first week, that was a bit of the weird, what situation is this kind of week. I do have to confess that the lockdown has been pretty good in a way, and I know it's so weird. I'm holding this makeup brush. I know that it's so weird to say that because I know, of course, it isn't a good situation. You know, people are dying, people are sick. I do miss the whole normal social life. You know, I do miss going to the bar, going to restaurants, meeting people, hugging people, kissing people. I do miss all of that stuff. But I also feel it's just that I sort of enjoy this me time as well. And it's just this feeling of not having to do, you know, not having any obligations, if you know what I mean. It's not like you wake up in the morning and I have to rush myself, or you have this thing like, you know, I need to be ready at 8:30. You know, your whole rhythm changes. And I kind of like that a little bit right now. Normally I really have a routine every single morning. And at first I wanted to stuck to that routine. Stuck? Well, I'm so confused right now. Stick? And I really wanted to keep that routine. But then after a while I thought, you know, what does it matter? I mean, you know, nobody's waiting for me. I don't need to be anywhere. So of course I can sleep a little bit longer. And of course I can eat breakfast at 11, and sometimes I eat lunch at like 4 p.m. So it's just really weird, but in a way also quite enjoyable. And it's just, I really want to take this time to do some self exploration. Like what I noticed the most is that it has really been a boost for my creativity, because before the lockdown I felt like for a while I sort of, I was sort of getting into the YouTube stuff, but I was getting rid of the trying out makeup stuff on myself. If I did something, it was usually a basic makeup look, and I wasn't really trying out a lot of fashion or special effects kind of makeup looks. I wasn't really doing that anymore, and I don't know why I didn't do it anymore. It's not that I didn't want to, but it's more like I didn't really have the inspiration, I guess. I really noticed that the lockdown has given me a massive boost to try out stuff again. So I'm not doing makeup every single day, but I do try to, like every other day, I want to try something out. And it might be special effects, it might be just a look like what I did today, but I really felt like I found the joy in makeup again. And that's a little bit exaggerated, because it's not that I had lost the joy in makeup, but I'm having new ideas and I have a lot of inspiration, and it's just really cool because I also feel like I'm really in this flow. New ideas keep popping up, and it's just really nice because, when I do makeup I just completely lose track of time. So sometimes if I'm doing a little bit more of a like a transformation, then sometimes I start at 1 p.m. and then the next time I look at my phone it's 5 or 6 p.m. So time just really passes by. It's really been good for that aspect to have that creativeness coming back to me. And not just in makeup. Let me drink. I have also started to write again. I can't remember the last time I actually wrote, but even as a child I really liked to write those little essays. Sometimes I really don't know how to pronounce the word in English, I'm sorry. But I just kind of like to write as a child, and I just never really did it as a grown-up person. But now all of a sudden I had this whole idea of a story and I just started to write, and I was writing like 10 pages a day. I'm not really writing with a purpose, it's not really like I want it to be published one day, but it's just a lot of fun to do. Again, it's something that I don't think I would have picked it up again if the lockdown situation wouldn't have happened. Other things, I've also picked up languages again, just with Duolingo. I'm not like subscribing to any online course or something like that, but I used to, like, I never really, sometimes I started to learn a language and then a couple of days later I was already neglecting it, and now every day I'm practicing my languages. So there's also that. I read a lot. I read every single day, which is also something that I was no longer doing. I think one of the great things is also that the weather has been amazing. Almost the entire month of April has been really good, and yesterday and then the day before it was actually almost like summer, and you could really walk around in like a dress or your shorts and a top. So it was just really lovely. If the weather's nice, I'm also going out for a walk because you have to keep in shape a little bit, and I think those are the things that I sort of do during this time. And as far as the whole virus thing goes, I've talked about this before, but I do try not to read the news or watch the news too much, because I feel like that's a very stressful thing. And again, it's not that I am neglecting the situation, but I just feel like it's mentally better for me not to do that, because otherwise I'm just stressing out too much, like, oh, this virus. I like to think that the worst part is over, at least where I live, but we're not there yet. Of course it's weird, but it's for everybody and we are all in this together. It's not like it's only my country or it's only Europe, it's the entire world. And I think that's also what gives strength to everybody, because you're like, it's the same for everybody. And of course it's going to be a weird summer because there will be no festivals and that kind of stuff. And I understand why people find that a shame, and some people even complain about it, but I really feel like this is just a small sacrifice that we have to do in order to hopefully have a bit of a normal life again in a couple of months. I mean, you know, people also didn't have festivals a couple of decades ago. So I think we can survive that. Anything else that I want to say? There was something else, but I forgot. I'm holding this makeup brush again. That's sort of how I'm experiencing it, and that's some of the things that I am doing to fill my days. I know that a lot of people are struggling with it, and I know that, you know, for me, I do realize that, but for me it's maybe an easy thing to say that I quite enjoy it, or, you know, I find it weird to say enjoy because, yes, again, I know it's a tricky situation, but it's more this mindset of trying to make the best out of it and just trying to find something good in it. And I also hope that, and I think that's what I was gonna say, but I also hope that maybe that will be the case for a lot of people, that we maybe can sort of contemplate a little bit about our lives. Because, you know, we live in a world where, you know, I think in most cultures it's very based on achieving and being successful. Because, you know, if you look at the amount of burnouts that people have, it's just insane, and also mental issues. So I think it might be good that we sort of have to take this break for ourselves and maybe get a little bit of a wake-up call. But again, you know, what I was saying is it's maybe easy for me to say that because I can imagine if you are, you know, if you're having this lockdown and you are surrounded with 3 kids who are constantly shouting and making a lot of noise, I think I can imagine that it might be a very harsh thing to be, you know, to stay at home. I think that's what I wanted to say. So yeah, I just hope that, you know, all of you will stay safe, stay at home as much as you can, and I will see you in my next video. I don't know what it's gonna be yet. I sort of go along with whatever I feel like. So, you know, if you like this video, leave it a thumbs up. If you like this video, leave a thumbs up. If you didn't, you don't have to give a thumbs down. That's a bit mean. Just be nice. You know, we're all in a lockdown. Be nice to each other. And, you know, feel free to subscribe. I always have difficulties with saying that word. But feel free to subscribe to my channel. And yeah, I hope that you will stay tuned for more. So take care. See you next time. Bye. My nose is so itchy.